Since I brought up Marvel Studios in comparison to DC Studios, and since I brought up earlier what Marvel has been able to do as opposed to what DC has been able to do, let's also talk about what they say are the differences, what Peter Safran and James Gunn say are the differences between the DCU and the MCU. Because I think this is interesting too, and I love what they had to say, because again, they always say the right things. But here's what James Gunn said about the differences between the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the DC Universe. I think that we have a lot of differences. I think that one of the reasons why I love DC is it really is another universe. It's an alternate world. In Marvel, generally, it's New York, Chicago, San Francisco, and then every place else in the world is a fictional universe for some reason. Here at DCU, we have Metropolis and Gotham and Themyscira and Atlantis, and all of that is sort of another fictional universe. All of that. And this is the world that we're creating. We're coming into a world where superheroes exist and have existed for some time in one form or another. And that's the universe. And so we are telling a big, huge central story, except for I think we're a lot more planned out than Marvel from the beginning, because we've gotten a group of writers together to work that story out completely. But we're also creating a universe that is like Star Wars, where there are different times, different places, different things, and like Game of Thrones, where characters are a little bit more morally complex. So everything right there that's everything that I would want the DCU to be in contrast to the MCU. You know, I've always loved that DC universe seems to be filled with like gods and aliens, while Marvel universe has always been like average Joes who are given powers and have to figure out, what do I do with this now? You know, unless you're Thor and a few other ones, obviously. But, you know, Marvel always felt more like this is like, you know, regular people who suddenly have powers and have to figure out what to do with them. Whereas DC, you have it's mythological, it's gods, it's good and evil. And it, you know, a lot of the stories you could almost tie back to Greek mythology. Like, you know, to me, I've always seen them that way. So to have James Gunn basically illustrate that perfectly, like we're not dealing with New York and Chicago, we're dealing with Metropolis and Gotham and Themyscira and Atlantis. I'm like, yes, we are in like a mystical world where there's, you know, the fantasy is kind of baked into everything.